You know those words, they hurt me. You'd found out what made me angry, then use it to your ability. Now you're trying to avoid me. You're the big problem here, a bully to many for so many years. Now shut your mouth, close your ears. Never learned your lesson and nobody cares. That's what you're here for, here to make me miserable. I know you get joy out of it. You hurt me but call me the same names again. You know I never liked them, and that's so unforgivable. I know you ruined my childhood. You hurt me and do it all over again. You ruined my childhood. You hurt me and do it all over again.
this is Fantasy-esque and welcome back to the Sims 4 Royal Witch Kingdoms. Today we are picking up with the noble family of Ramong, and look at my adorable new couple. I am so excited for these guys. They're just, they look so good. They look so good in their noble Ramong wedding attires. So we've already been through this wedding ceremony before when we saw the royal episode. So in Ramong, the white wedding birds, that is how all the weddings will occur. And if you guys watched the end of the last season, you'll know that things in Holcane are done differently. They have a different wedding ceremony and they have different wedding attires. This is the noble one for our Ramong residents. So I just love it. Now, because the royal family kind of had this like cream, gold, and white sort of theme, we went with the same for our noble family. Of course, the Ramadusts, they will be wearing exactly the same outfit, like wedding outfits, as these guys, but they'll have like a different color scheme. So like they'll have, a different color scheme that's attached to like their house, weddings in their house. So anyways, I'm excited. On the right, we have High Lord Valar Rawan and his wife, Lady Artrose Rawan. She is no longer a Ramadust. So let's take a good look at, the door. These two. Now, they're currently talking to Meralda, High Lady Meralda, who is the oldest Stagda, aka oldest sister of Artrose. Now, these two, they are like part of a triplet group. So they're triplets, right? Meralda's the oldest triplet, and then there's Artrose and Daphne. Now, Daphne and Artrose look exactly the same. Meralda looks different to them, but they are all triplets. And Artrose is the middle child. So anyways, I just thought this was such a sweet scene to start off on because we have Artrose kind of looking away, and then Valar's attention is entirely on Artrose. Like, he's just really happy with Artrose. So I'm excited for that. Now, before we get the episode going, actually, you know what? We'll kind of let things happen. So they've just had, their wedding ceremony, and they've come into the estate, and now we've invited some special guests to celebrate the wedding with us. So we have, I think, all of the court of Ramong has been invited. We have the youths of Ramong, so all of the friends that these two knew growing up. And then there's some additional guests that Valar invited. Like, he invited High Queen Faina Sikar. We also have Kenzo, Master Kenzo Siddeley, who is actually, I think, he's one of the younger children, like one of the spares in Sikar, like from one of the noble families of Sikar, and they are more acquaintances than anything, and Kenzo is a teen, but somehow they know each other, and he extended an invitation to Kenzo, which is interesting because he did not extend an invitation to Kenzo's older Stagda, who is the high lady of their house. He did not do that, but I suppose it doesn't matter too much. Now, who else of importance? I think those were the only non-Ramongs invited. Everyone else that was invited is from Ramong. I don't think Lyra made it, just because actually, I mean, Kenzo is like here, and I feel like Lyra should have taken this spot, but I kind of placed Kylo there, and oh well, it doesn't matter too much. We can hopefully in the future at some point, depending on how often these guys meet, add her once a slot opens up. But I think that's fine. That is fine. And we also have their wedding out. What am I saying? Not wedding outfits. We have their wedding portrait in their chamber upstairs. Look at this, Valar and Artrose's wedding. Aren't they just sweet? Now, because of their hoods, you can't actually see their faces in their wedding portrait, which every other wedding portrait, we can kind of see their faces. And this is, like, we're sticking with this pose, though, because this is the pose that the wedding portraits have in all of our Ramong weddings. And again, it's different for the Holcane ones. But typically, the bride and groom do face each other. It's just that the poses slightly vary, and this is the one that the Ramongs like taking the portraits in, like the way they like doing it. But with our royal one, we could actually make out their faces because they didn't have hoods. They had like a tricorn hat, whereas these guys, they have the hoods. And I actually kind of like the fact that it makes that moment more private to them, because yeah, we can't see their faces and nobody else looking down the generations will be able to see their faces, but we know that the bride and groom could, right? So there's kind of that added layer of specialness to them, and I love that. And you can see like their wedding rings as well that they have, because now that they're married, they have the golden rings. So the nobles typically have the silver variant of that. Oh geez, hold on, stop. Now it's gold. Now it is noticeably gold. And in terms of their wedding makeup, it is definitely a lot more emphasized. Like a lot more emphasized for the, these guys, for the nobles. Like crazy. Very, very dark, very, very dramatic. They've got like diamantes and stuff on their brow. And then they've got some white, I think, eyeliner at the bottom. And they've got this black paint across their lips. So I think that's really cool. I think that is super cool. Okay, now wedding, yes, we've kind of been through that. We know that, like how it works and such. But what I want to talk about is actually what happened before the wedding, in the movie that was between Kylo and Valar. So they were having a bit of a private conversation before the wedding took place, like I think a few days before. And Kylo really wanted to know if Valar liked Atros, because they have been betrothed the longest across all the kingdoms. I think they were the very first betrothal we had. So that was kind of a big deal. That was a huge thing. And initially, I have a feeling that Valar, I remember the marriage talks are going on, he wasn't exactly too keen on that whole thing. You know, he wasn't too excited or eager about it. So this is Daphne. Daphne is the youngest triplet, but she and Atros have the same coloring and look exactly the same. But she's betrothed to someone from Sikaar, one of the noble families in Sikaar. Anyways, Valar was having a conversation about it with his brother, and, you know, they were the first ones to get engaged, and that's because the triplets, like Atros and Daphne, were the first non-heirs born, and so everyone kind of had their eyes on them and wanted to snag one of them as a daughter-in-law. Valar's family kind of jumped in on the chance to do that and strengthen ties within Ramong itself and the court of Ramong, you know, the nobility. So Valar, he wasn't really too eager for it. He kept trying to, like, play it off as nothing too serious, but, you know, his Kotian, his father, was pretty adamant that something be done fairly quickly. So that arrangement was made. You know, the parents decide, obviously, in which society. So that arrangement was made, and at the end of the day, Valar kind of went ahead with it because he didn't really complain much, even though he was hesitant, because he was always very loyal to the house and to his Kotian, and he would have done anything his Kotian said. So as far as he was concerned, that's what was required of him, and that's the way he would go ahead, like that's what he would do, right? There's really no question that when you have to do something for the house, you have to do something for the house. And back here is where they had their wedding, which was very nice, in this little spot there, which was built specifically for the wedding. So there was that. He didn't particularly feel too strongly, I feel like, about Atros in the beginning. And actually, I completely forgot about this, but you guys reminded me, I think it was Ronald. You said that Valar was actually crushing on the princess at one point. He started having feelings for the princess. when he turned into 18, around the time when his parents were trying to get him engaged to Artrose. But the princess rejected his advances. She kind of made it clear that they were both heirs and nothing was ever going to happen between them. So he had to move on from that and give that up. But I feel like he did move on from that, and over time he came to like Artrose. And now he is, fond of Artrose, and he does want to be intimate with her. And I've kind of let them interact with each other in the household, and they have been doing exactly that. If we look at his relationship with Artrose, I don't think they're friends yet. They're not friends yet, but they're definitely romantic interests. You can see that little bit of pink. So there is mutual, I'm hoping, respect there. At least on Valar's side. Like, he wants to be a good husband to Artrose, no doubt. Now, his personality, freegan, art lover, kleptomaniac. So art lover, we usually interpret that as lovers of history, so he's very proud of his family history, I would say. Now, kleptomaniac and freegan. So, let's see, how can I interpret that? Right, so he doesn't like being wasteful, and I would imagine that is kind of in all aspects of his life, not necessarily just with material things. Oh look! King Elrond is finally here to visit us. Hello, Elrond. And then a klepto. Yep. So, a bit of a thief. He's got a bit of a thief aspect to him as well. Which is not good, to be honest. So that's kind of curious. You know what? I feel like maybe this whole non-wasteful side of him, the thieving side of him, these are all kind of parts of his personality that maybe was a bit quashed when his parents were here, because his parents kind of expected certain things of him, so there was no way he could actually do these things. But now that he's the High Lord of the house, he's kind of, he's gonna have a bit more freedom to be as he wants, and maybe the real Valar isn't as ideal as we've made him out to be. Right, so we've got that going, and Artrose, personality-wise, she's a bookworm, a green fiend, and non-committal. Now, I feel like Artrose was never really fond of this whole arrangement. Like, she never really wanted to leave her home, and she never really wanted to get married, but that's what was expected of her. That arrangement was made for her, and sadly, the parents passed on by the time they got married. So obviously there was a part of, see, look at this romance happening between them without me having to do much. Or anything. I haven't had to do anything, really. But now that their parents have passed on, there was a part of the wedding ceremony that didn't get done, which is the parents welcoming them into the house. And it's going to be that way for everyone whose parents have passed on, which is pretty much all the witches at this point. And also going forward with the betrothals that are happening. Like, some of these households, they have younger siblings that still need to get betrothed. Like Kylo, for example. He will need to get betrothed to someone at one point. Because we still have 2 female heirs that aren't partnered up with anyone. So that will happen. But because the parents aren't here, I think the betrothal ceremony itself will be overlooked. So it'll be like an in-game betrothal that we have with the head of the house, so High Lord Valar, going to visit whichever family proposes for Kylo, going to visit that family and doing that betrothal, that engagement, like, in person. And they'll kind of go over the ceremony, because that, I think in witch culture, is something that the parents do. When the parents aren't there, then it's not really something that has to be followed. Like, you kind of do a quicker, informal sort of betrothal, because that's the parents' kind of thing, right? It's just, I feel like I don't know if it would be disrespectful, but that is kind of like a respectable ceremony that the parents are supposed to carry out. There is no one that can replace them. Also, speaking of replacements, one of you lovelies, Amber, on Patreon, recommended an amazing mod to me, which was a default replacement, like a fantasy default replacement for certain or like a lot of book covers in The Sims 4, and that's exactly what we're seeing over here. Because I've never seen this particular cover before, but you guys, or Amber, you mentioned on Patreon that there's this wonderful mod that I can download, and it will actually replace the horrendously modern covers of several books that we have in the game, quite a few. I don't know how many exactly. This is the first time seeing it. Kind of just dumped it in my mods folder, and lo and behold, it just got picked up by Archros, and I got reminded once again that that was something we had to cover as well. So I am excited to see it in game. I flippin' love it. I don't know what book this was originally, but I hope a lot of our books look like this now, because this is so much better than whatever the hell we had. And to be honest, with the way I play my games, like, I don't really do many modern things. There's plenty fantasy stuff going on in my channel in The Sims 4. So yes, the default replacement is very useful. And I will put a link to that in the description of this video. Now, Amber originally sent me, I think, a Pinterest link, which I clicked on, but it said page not found. And then Amber sent me another link to a Sims file share, which I could download the mod off of. So that's probably the link that I'll put in the description. So anyways, there we go. Just had to take a look. And actually, can I just look inside? Look at how cool that looks. Oh, I love it. Look at that. Look at those pixelated words. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Not gonna lie. Okay, so we had that going on. And I am kind of rambling here and there. So it looks like our special guests have left, but a bunch of these other guests are still here. But yeah, I think Archros was never really into that, but she kind of never had a choice. I mean, she wasn't even an heir, so she had to go along with anything and everything her parents asked of her. Her mother in particular, I think, was quite against this match, because Archros' Nalka wanted her to marry into royalty. She had high ambitions, but her father, I think High Lord Valen, he liked the Rawans, and he had a good friendship with the Rawans, and he wanted his daughter to marry into a decent house that is of their level. He did not want them to kind of marry above their station. So that's why this match was made. With Archros as well, she's a bookworm, so she loves learning, and she loves being lost in novels and such. So I suppose she does enjoy time to herself, and she's also a green fiend. So I would interpret that as her just loving nature, and I suppose using like sustainable things and such. So yeah, she loves her neighborhood, I would say. She just loves Ramong, I think. So if anything, she is happy staying in Ramong rather than having to leave Ramong, I think is the way I'll interpret that. So this isn't like the best situation, but with what the cards she got given, this was kind of the most ideal that she could do with. So that's really good. But again, with that non-committal trait, I wonder how that is going to affect their relationship in the future. I feel like the idea maybe of being responsible for a family, and for a lot of things. I mean, look at the chicken coop. Look at the chicken coop. These chickens are dying back there. We need to save them. And we will. At some point. We will. But, that, and then, having children, raising children, I feel like the idea of that is going to terrify her. Like, being stuck to that and trapped with that and not being able to do anything else is going to terrify her. But we'll see how she copes. Hopefully she does well. Now, typically, as the spouse in the house, her job would be, to repair, to clean, to cook, all of those things. Now, lucky for her, her Stabellum is still in the house, right? So Stabellum is still in the house, her brother-in-law, which means he's currently helping his Najime, his sister-in-law, out with the cooking, the cleaning, the repairing. So, and look, he wants to become friends with Lady Archros, which is actually quite sweet of him, and I didn't realize this guy had this, like, these guys had this library here, but they do, which is really cool. But Kylo, he's mean, right? He's a foodie, so he enjoys food, he's mean, and he's a perfectionist. So when he does something, he likes doing it very, very well. Now, I was worried because he was mean that he would not get along well with Archrose, but actually he's had this want to become friends with her, so already he approves of Archrose, and he thinks Archrose is going to be a good Najime, a good sister-in-law. Specifically for him, he didn't say a good wife, he just said a good sister-in-law, right? So there is that, but he has been quite helpful, which is really good. And I feel like because he's helpful, Archrose is it's their wedding day, so she hasn't really settled into doing very much. But I think she's enjoying the new reality of her life for now, because Hestabellum is there to kind of do a lot of the hard stuff. But, you know, once he marries out, depending on where he gets, like, which kingdom or which household he gets arranged into, once he marries out, then he will be doing all those things in the household that he's married into, and then Archrose will have to eventually start learning how to do all this on her own. She won't have a, young Hestabellum to go ahead and help her out with these things or run errands for her. She's the one who's going to be in charge of it. So, okay, I am going to get Kylo to he's going to flush the toilet, he's going to do some things, he's going to help out with a few things here. He needs to repair the fridge. Now, we do have some food that Valar made recently, so that's good. Valar really doesn't have to, but he's actually quite nice. And look at these two. They've been having quite a few, they're always gravitating towards each other, and I actually love that. They're constantly gravitating towards each other and actually spending time with one another, which is really, really good. It's a great sign, in my opinion. And Archrose, she did want to chat with Elrond, so maybe we should chat with King Elrond while he's here. Maybe ask about his day. Yeah, we'll ask about his day. Now, the danger thing about this is it says be romantic with everyone. So maybe I should get rid of that. Maybe I will get rid of that, actually. Can I not? Darn it. I think Nimwe's the only one who could fix this. But as teens, we did have that placed in just so we could see maybe some relationships between everyone, but it is no longer a thing. Let's hope everyone behaves, basically. We're just gonna hope everyone behaves. And Elrond's feeling flirty, and hopefully nothing happens between them because it is your wedding day and we do not want Valar to get upset at you. Now, in the previous episode, we kind of saw that Valar and Nimue, there was something going on there, and then Elrond got really upset at Nimue, right? And we concluded that Nimue was the one who flirted with Valar because he was upset, not at Valar, specifically at Nimue for cheating. So, I'm thinking... and I completely forgot what was going on. I was like, maybe... I forgot what was going on. And, in terms of their history, that he liked her at one point, and that she rejected him. Oh, Kylo. Kylo doesn't like handiness. That's not gonna help you in the households you're gonna marry into, hon. You should like these things, otherwise life's gonna be hard. But yeah, I completely forgot about that, and so I figured, well, maybe she was just being socially awkward and it came off as something flirtatious to Elrond, and then you guys reminded me, well, no, they actually had history. And so you're thinking that maybe what happened is someone brought that up somehow, I think, and then Elrond got quite upset by that, or there was some lingering feelings between someone. But that time around, I think Nimue was the one who initiated it. We missed it, but I think Nimue initiated it. And if that is the case, then I think it might have been like how I said, she was being socially awkward. And maybe Elrond and the others do know the history between Valar and Nimue. Or Elrond might have discovered that history while talking with Lyra. I don't know. Lyra also had a crush on Elrond, so maybe she revealed some things she shouldn't have. But if that is the case, maybe Nimue was just being socially awkward, but then Elrond did not like that, knowing that Valar and Nimue have history, and he could have taken that the wrong way. So maybe that's the spat that happened between them. And maybe he was getting insecure, like, is Nimue having second thoughts? A lot of drama happening. Anyways, I am quite delighted to see that things between Archbros and Vala are going very well, though. I mean, they're just so cute. She's so cute and so pretty. Not gonna lie. Not going to lie. I also just love that hood on her. On both of them. I think it looks so good. So flippin' good. Okay. I'm getting way too excited, but it's good that she's catching up with Meralda and with Daphne. Now, Kenzo? Kenzo, why are you with us? Oh, okay, never mind. Remember how I said I'm not entirely sure how Vala knows Kenzo? Well, no. Now I do. Vala knows Kenzo because Kenzo, Meralda has asked for Kenzo's hand. Yeah, I think that's what's happened. Meralda has offered for Kenzo's hand in marriage, even though he's a teen. So, you know, he's still in Sikar currently with his household, but he is considered part of the court of Ramong as as Lord Ramadust. So Meralda is the High Lady, and so she is going to end up getting married to Kenzo eventually. Ah, that makes sense. That's why we know Kenzo. I was so confused for a second. But now I realize. Huh. Well, if you guys had any questions, then please do let me know. And I realize you're tired. You know what, Kylo? You need to help out your Najime. Come here. This is disgusting. Let's clean the coop. Seriously, you need to scatter some feed nearby. These chickens are dying. Collect up these eggs. Yep. Go do all that. You need to help out. Like, everyone is struggling. She's gonna have such a hard time adjusting, I feel. She's gonna have such a hard time adjusting. Okay, we're gonna let everyone who came for the wedding celebrations go home. So we'll do that so nobody else has to worry about any of this. That's fine. But yeah, that's why Kenzo's here. I was so confused for a second, but that's how we know him. He's not just some random person we met in court. Well, we actually did meet him in court, but you know, we didn't meet him in some random birthday event. No, he is actually gonna marry into the Ramadust house. So yeah. And I feel like, just, you know, in regards to that, a lot of the families would have made arrangements already with certain households. So that does make sense. And if that's the case, then I think there's probably already been talk for Kylo. We just haven't been part of it, but I'm sure somebody has already reached out in regards to Kylo. How are you going? You're starving? Well, this is clean, which is great. Okay, you're clean, you're unhappy, I am sorry. Let's scatter some more feed, like that isn't enough food to feed everyone. Now the chickens, how do they get clean again? I don't actually know. It's not like we can clean them, unfortunately. I think we have to wait for them to go back into the chicken coop or something like that. Well, we gotta socialize with them. So let's talk with them just a little bit. But yeah, Vala must already have someone in mind, actually. Vala must already have someone in mind, because when the new High Kings and High Queens took over, there was this rush among the High Lords and Ladies to secure themselves spouses, especially for those who didn't get around to it before their parents died, the ones who weren't engaged. They would have kind of reached out to other families and made their own engagements, right? Their own betrothals. So I think the similar situation is happening with Kenzo, and a similar situation would have happened with Kylo. But obviously we're not focusing on that right now because we're spending time with these guys. these guys in their gorgeous wedding outfits, which they're going to stay in for the remainder of this episode because, like, I love it and I want to keep seeing it. Thank you very much. But okay, I think we can possibly wait till the next day when things are a bit better. Maybe Kylo and Atreus can spend some time getting to know each other. And then obviously we need to probably deal with some of the household things. But okay, guys, with that said and done, I am going to let them sleep and then we shall return. Oh my goodness, guys. Tragedy has struck. Tragedy has struck once again. Unfortunately, Kylo Ren is dying. Kylo is dying. I was not ready for this, but Kylo is dying. So he, unfortunately, I completely missed it while, running around doing other things. But his hunger went too low. He is now starving. He is dying. But obviously, for the purpose of our story, we can't say he's starving. That doesn't make sense. So if you guys have theories about his death, please let me know, because he is most definitely not starving. He's dying from something else. Either some magical ailment, or someone poisoned him, or something. He's dying from something, but not starvation. And I am distraught because he was lined up for someone. And now he cannot marry them. Now he cannot be with them. Like, not even be betrothed to them or engaged to them. And that just breaks my heart. So I'm going to have to find someone else for that particular heir. But he is dying. And this is like the morning after these guys got married. Right? They obviously haven't consummated the marriage just yet. But they did sleep in the same room, of course. But yes, the consummation will happen in the next episode. And it is going to be a rough one because Kylo literally just saw his Vlaro get married and then he died. And Atreus here, I mean, he wanted to be friends with Atreus. I feel so sad. We didn't get to know him long enough. He wanted to, and I was just saying that we need to put Lyra in the youth group when there's a slot open. Well, guess what? Now there's gonna be a slot open because Kylo died. Oh my goodness. Yep, there is most definitely a slot that is going to be open, I tell you. Well, Lyra's not here. We need to put Lyra in at some point, but that is just, this breaks my heart. This really breaks my heart. Kylo, Kylo, he was gonna do stuff. He was gonna spend the day, like this day, he was gonna spend it getting to know Atreus a little bit more, and they were gonna become friends, and then he was gonna help Atreus around the house, and make just the transition into married life a lot smoother for her. Oh, that breaks my heart, guys. That just breaks my heart. Now, I'm gonna get them to stay in their wedding outfits because, like I said, I want to just stretch this out for as long as possible. Like, I want to enjoy them in their wedding outfits as long as possible. So, I think just the rule is until they consummate the marriage, they stay, for the most part, in their wedding outfits. Like, they change back. Even if they sleep, whatever else, they change back into their wedding outfits. They wear that until they've consummated the marriage. That must be rough. I mean, at least he got to celebrate the wedding with his brother. Like, he got to see his brother married and everything. But then how crappy is that? Your younger Vlaro literally dies the morning after. And Valar probably would have had things in his mind. His brother is going to marry his brother off into a good household and make his life and everything. And I feel like Valar also was just coming to terms with being a High Lord himself and the responsibility of that. And I feel as though he would take it very hard that his younger brother died under his watch. Like, how tragic is that? He doesn't even want to deal with it. Actually, yes, don't worry, go eat, otherwise you'll be dying too. And then Atreus will be stuck. But Atreus is distraught. Atreus is just distraught. She didn't even get to be like a Najime for that long. Oh, that's so sad. Guys, that's so sad. Oh. Well, we're gonna need a little... I'm gonna have to build something where we can place the urns of Kylo. We might build something like back in this area. Yeah, we might have something back here for the deceased of the household. Oh goodness, that was unexpected. That just crushed me. By the time I saw that his thing was down, I tried to get him some blue milk. I tried, but he took out the milk, he put it down, and he just died. Oh, jeez. But let me know, what are your theories? How do you think he died? I mean, if it's a magical illness or something, that could be the case. It could also, you know, if someone poisoned him, that could also be viable, because just the day before we did have a wedding celebration, and so we had like all these people in the estate who knows what they touched and what they did. Now everyone who was here was from Ramong except for High Queen Fena, and then we had Kenzo, but you know, Kenzo's gonna marry into the Ramadust household, so why would he do that? Oh goodness, I don't know if someone did kill him. I don't know who it could have been, because he didn't even have a bad relationship with anyone as far as I was aware. Like, he had a good relationship with everyone else. So I don't know who would have even done that. And obviously we can't see his relationships anymore, even though he was mean, you know. He kind of kept it under control. The only ones we can go off really is Valar. Like, does Valar have any enemies? Not really. Not really. None of the other nobles or royals really dislike him. So that's... Oh, well, I say that, and then something comes to mind. King Elrond might not be that fond of Valar. I mean, they have a positive sentiment. King Elrond, initially, we know, did try to befriend Valar, but then that friendship did not go anywhere because of that incident between High Queen Nimue and High Lord Valar, which Elrond was not impressed with. And Elrond, as nice as we like to think he is, at the end of the day, is a Sikaar. And Sikaars are very narcissistic, and I feel like they're quite mischievous and territorial, and yeah, that is just them. So, what if Elrond, to send a message to the House of Rawan and to Valar, decided to poison his brother and kill him? I mean, yes, he's now married into a practical kingdom, but he was born in a kingdom of mischief. So what if he did that? You know, he slipped something to Kylo to send a message to Valar. Stay away from the High Queen. Stay away from my wife, essentially. What if he did that? But then also, what if Fena did that? Because High Queen Fena, when Nimue asked for Elrond's hand in marriage, Fena is his older sister, his older Stagda, she told her that they have very strong kinship, right, with their siblings. And she is she's very protective over her brother. She made that quite clear to Nimue in the beginning. So what if King Elrond did indeed tell Fena about this, and I think actually Fena was there when it happened. I think she was there. What if she couldn't reprimand Nimue because she didn't, as far as I remember in the episode, she didn't say anything to Nimue. But what if she didn't because she couldn't? What she could do, however, was poison a family member of the noble involved, which in this case is Valar. Even though they're friends, I don't know if she had a friendship with Kylo, so she might not have felt bad doing that, to make an example of them for the sake of her brother. What if? Guys, let me know, but this is kind of just popping into my head. And I'm thinking, I mean, they're fully capable of doing stuff like this, right? Even though you'd think it's a, like, mischievous kingdom, right? It's a mischievous kingdom, so you wouldn't think they'd kill anyone. But then also, if you're looking at history, Faina's mother, Nala. So even Faina, and see, this is what is amazing about, let me see, they're not dying? Okay. This is what is amazing about having a second generation and playing in a second generation, because there's so much crap that has happened up to this point between families that, look, I'm forgetting, but then, like, as I'm playing, it's coming back to me. And so we just discussed what Faina might have had against the Rawans. But I just realized, like, even though she's friends with the law, Faina's family and Archrose's family have history. So Archrose's mother, Lady Candrica, was having an affair with High Queen Faina's father, High King Yorick. And Faina's mother, Nala, Queen Nala, found out about the affair and came to Ramong to confront her. And it, like, the spell that she used backfired, and she forgot about the affair. And I don't know if it ever came back out after that, but I'm sure she would have spoken. Actually, I don't think she spoke to Faina about it. Faina was the one, as a teen, I'm fairly sure, or as a child, she noticed that her father was bringing this woman over to the castle to sleep overnight, and she told Nala about it, and that's how Nala found out about the affair. So Faina, even though her mother forgot, she would have been aware of that. So I don't know if she exactly holds Archrose in high regard. So, you know, it could be multiple things. One, getting back at Valar for messing with Elrond's feelings, or, you know, sending a warning, I think, to Nimue more than anything for messing with her brother's feelings. And it could also be a wedding present, a belated wedding present from the Sikars to the Ramadusts for what happened between their mothers back in the day. Faina! Right now, Faina seems like the most likely culprit, but I think that's what might have happened. He was poisoned. He was poisoned by Faina. And if it is by Faina, no one can do anything about it. Even if it's by Elrond, no one can do anything about it, because Faina is the High Queen of Sikar, and Elrond is the King of Ramong. Like, what is Nimue gonna do? Throw him in prison? No, she wouldn't do that. So, I need to go build a place for the urn to be put, and then I'm gonna head off. When we come back in the next episode, these guys will have their noble consummation, and I hope that Archrose gets pregnant, because I want to see a baby in this new season, please. Especially because it sounds sad, but we just lost a sim. We want to make up our numbers again, okay? Okay. Well, guys, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.